Hello, and welcome to the Realest Idealist podcast. I am your spiritual guru, but don't let that fool you. I'm still learning too. I actually kind of rhymed. That was nice. Anyway, I'm Brenna, and joining me, as always, from across the pond is my spiritual sidekick and my partner in crime, Stags Woodward. Ayo.
Hey, how you doing? Good to hear from you again.
Yeah, same. So how are you today? How are you feeling about this one? We're going to be doing talking about life coaching.
Yeah, I'm excited. Well, I've been excited about all of them, but I think particularly this one, I think I need a little bit of life coaching, definitely.
Yeah. I think we all need a little bit of this in our lives. Even those people who think they have it all together.
They need even more, I think.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Well, we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah. Also, we've got some gales going on in the UK at the moment, so if there's any background noises, I apologise.
All right. Today on the show, we have psychic medium and life and spiritual coach Aileen Mack, owner of Phoenix Rising Esoteric Center in Plymouth, Pennsylvania. So welcome, Aileen Mack. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right. So I guess let's just get right into it. And I kind of start with the basics because that's where we're all starting at. So what is life coaching and how maybe is it different than traditional therapy practices?
So that's a really good question. And it actually gets a lot of our clients hung up on whether or not they should be in a coaching program or working with a mentor in that type of situation. So one of the big differences between therapy versus coaching is that I don't have a medical license. I don't have a degree that would push me towards giving medication or really digging deep into your psyche and fixing trauma. That's not my bag. So that's something that we make very, very clear when we're taking on clients, because you never want to offer a service that you cannot complete. You don't want to oversell yourself, so to speak. Coaching, though, as a whole, is a great way of having an adult guidance counselor. So when you were in high school and you didn't want to do your homework and you didn't want to apply to college and your mom told you to fix your clothes and join some groups and you decided none of that was important to your life, your guidance counselor was the one who kicked your butt and said, let's get going. So that's what I am for adults. I am a guidance counselor. For a lot of people, I'm their best friend, their worst enemy, and their mom. But all of that comes with the territory of getting to know someone, finding out what their real goals are, where is their heart, where is their soul, and how do we get them to the next step.
Okay. So, and then how do you start with clients, with new clients? Where do you begin?
Every coach is different. So that's one of those really broad answers. But I think generally speaking, we all start our coaching clients with an intro session. And that's just a little bit of time where I get to know you, what you're willing to put forth as far as time, effort, energy, and you get to know me and what I'm willing to accept and what I am not, because I may not be the coach for you. And that's okay. I may know the coach for you. So it really just depends on what it is that you're looking for. But I think we start everyone with an intro session where we really get to know each other and see if what I have to offer will actually work for you. And a lot of times coaches like to do a life map at that appointment, and life maps are fun. Life maps are fun.
What exactly is a life map?
So a life map is, I'm a really artsy fartsy person. Okay. Like straight up, I like crayons. So I like to do it in the form of a schedule. I want to see, what are you doing right now? What do you wish you were doing? And then I want to show you how to blend those two worlds together so that you can still have progress, feel good about your effort, see the change and the differences being made, and learn some new skills. So a life map shows me where your challenges are and where your easy street is, because I want to get you off of easy street and get you working with the challenging objects.
Stags, do you have any questions so far?
No, I mean, she had me at crayons. I'm quite and I like the idea. That sounds great. I don't think we have guidance counsellors in the UK though. At high school, well, we don't high school, but university. I don't think I had a guidance counsellor. So
did you have a mentor?
Sort of. I didn't really. I was quite bad at attending university. It wasn't a big thing at the time.
Okay.
But, yeah,
so maybe you should have had a mentor.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Well, now I'm hearing it. I think that sounds great. I'm sure I've heard them mentioned on movies and stuff when you see people in high school and they mention a guidance counsellor. So I kind of have a sense of what that is. But yeah, no, that sounds great. I think I get an idea of it. And the life map sounds brilliant as well. I'm quite intrigued by this. And if it's drawn in crayons, then I'm on board. Yeah. So is this common in the States as life coaching? Is this a thing that's...
It has become more mainstream. So life coaching is something that started, I want to say, within the last 10 to 12 years, but it's become very, very big within the last 5. We're not necessarily regulated the way a university would be, but there are certificate programs and things of that nature where as a coach, you would go and you would get the skill set that you need to be able to communicate effectively, because that is the challenge, especially when you're dealing with an adult who is behaving as a child. You have to learn to communicate effectively and to not be pushy, to not be judgmental, to not be overbearing, and to really give them space to feel appreciated, understood, and reflective in their own challenges. So there are different programs that we can take. We do have the International Confederate of Coaching. Okay, so it sets up a guideline for us. ICF, I believe it is. It sets up a guideline for us on certain rules, practices, and procedures that are appropriate, and then what is not appropriate.
Mm-hmm. And so this is all growing now, is it? Is there a lot of theories flying around, or is it kind of nailed down?
The theory on coaching is just as vast as the theory on chiropractic work. Okay? You have your people that are all about the joints and, getting into the muscle tissue. And then you have other people that are like, let me crack your neck. It'll make it better. So coaching really has the same idea of a widespread genre. You have people who only coach for spirituality, people who only deal in money, your business, people who only deal with mothers or parents. There's coaches for psychics and mediums. There's coaches for, everything. If it's a thought process that you're stuck on, I can almost guarantee there is a coach for it.
So I probably should know this, but what would be the difference between just a life coach and a spiritual coach and all those different things you mentioned?
Okay, so I'll start with the simple things. When we talk about a business coach, they are specifically pinpointing your finances, the effort that you're putting into your business, the strategies that you're using, and the way that you plan on growing. That is a business coach. They do not care about your family life. They don't care if you went to church or if you meditated today. They just want to know your bottom line. That's a business coach. The differences are going to be equally as distinct in every other genre. My life coaching clients, I'm very specific as far as their personal relationships, their work relationships, their, what are you doing for a job? Are you happy there? Are you having enough time with your children and your family? Are you making enough time for yourself? Are you healthy? Are you happy there? So that's a life coach. I want to push your life. When we talk about spirituality, it becomes a little more sticky. because now I have to understand your connection to your own heart. How do you talk to yourself? Who do you pray to? And if you don't pray, how do you think those answers get here? I have to understand who you are at your most basic self, that piece of you that only the shower water gets to see. I need to understand that person as your spiritual coach, and I will. So my questions are going to be much more intrusive. As your life coach, I may ask you about your relationship with your spouse. As your spiritual coach, I'm going to ask you, are you connecting when you have sex?
Oh.
Two different worlds. Two very different worlds, but both very necessary.
Wow.
Definitely. There's a lot there, isn't there?
It's a lot to do. But it's a very rewarding position to have.
Yeah. Yeah. And so how long does this take with each client? Would it be like, is it like a one session a week, or is it just negotiable?
It is dependent upon the client and the goals that they have. So me, personally, I enjoy doing a 6-month stretch. In 6 months, we should be able to get over at least 3 very large hurdles for you. You should think a little differently. You should have new coping skills. You should have new reward systems. 3 items, 6 months. I have some people that really prefer to speed up the process. They just want everything now. And I do warn them that that is a very intense choice to make. It's a very intense choice to make because someone I see for 6 months, you're only going to see me 3 hours a month. I'm sprinkled into your life. That way it doesn't feel overbearing or like you have too much to do. If you wanted to cut that program down in half, well, then we're best friends.
Right.
Because now I have to see you. It's only 4 weeks in a month. And I have to see you about 6 to 7 hours in that month to really get the work done. So we're talking an hour session every week and a half an hour phone call every week to get that time in so that I can push your thought process.
Yeah. And so 6 months is presumably a number of clients you've seen sort of through that 6-month period. And do you generally see a big change, or does it depend very much on whether the client's there with you or not?
It does depend on whether or not the client's there with you. However, I am a huge proponent for reminding people what they pay me for. I don't want to waste your time, but I also do not want you to waste mine. We are in the real world. I have a regular job, a business, a very large family, and personal time that I need to be able to take care of my own spiritual and physical well-being. So if you don't waste my time, I won't waste yours. The second you start wasting my time, I'm going to tell you. Because if you don't want to be in coaching, that's okay.
Yeah. So you mentioned 3 things as well. So one of them was coping, was it, that you would think would be like 3 things people might want to deal with in the 6 months? One of them was reward skills. So what's reward skills?
As adults, we forget that we get gold stars too.
I'm liking this as well. Wow.
Okay, we get gold stars. So a lot of people have they have inappropriate or unbalanced reward systems. Okay, so what I mean by that is, oh, I went to work every day this week. I'm going to go out and get plastered at the bar. That's a horrible reward system. That is not a good reward system. But this is what people feel they deserve because that's what they see on TV and it looks good. But just because it looks good does not mean that it's good for your body or your soul or your future. And those are the things that coaching is meant to protect. So yeah, I like to teach people that if you go to work every day this week, can you go out and have dinner and a glass of wine with your friends? Oh my God, yes, you earned that. If you do overtime though, you can buy the bottle. Because it's my job to push you forward. I need to give you adult gold stars. Find out what you love and then dangle it.
Yeah. So like a carrot dangling sort of technique. I like it.
So, I guess like most people in the spiritual community, you are you are multi-talented. You do multiple different things. So is there ways, especially with the spiritual coaching, I'm sure there's ways to incorporate the other things that you learn, like is there ever a time where your mediumship comes in or anything like that comes into play to help you through the coaching?
Absolutely. I really do believe that no human is a single thing. No one. You're not a single thing. We have all these little bits and pieces, kind of like stained glass or a mosaic. It's all these little teeny tiny things that make you you, that make you beautiful and perfect in your own space. Me, my stained glass is very, very eclectic. So yes, it does transfer over. I'm what most people would call claircognizant. So what that means is that as a psychic, I just know things. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's not like I got to go up and touch you on the shoulder and now I'm minding your business. No, it's randomly. If this is something that I need to know, I know. So at times, if I have a client and I say, "Hey, how'd your reading go this week?" I already know they didn't do it. But now it's my job to get them to not only tell on themselves, but also to I want them to hear it. I want them to hear it because they're going to try and lie first, because that's what we do as humans. We lie. And then after we lie and we say, okay, that didn't work, we make up an excuse. I don't accept excuses in coaching. That doesn't work for me. Okay. And now after the excuse, I need to know the truth. And now after I get the truth, how did that make you feel to have to say it out loud? Because it wasn't my homework. It was yours.
Wow. No escape.
No, not with me. Sorry. There's no pause, which I think that works well for a lot of my clients. And if my approach is too forward for people, then I'm just not the coach for you. And I don't take that personal at all.
Brenna's looking slightly scared.
I love the silence in the room. It's like, oh crap, what did I not do?
Oh no, that's like, it's taking me to my own coaching. So it's like, oh no, it's gotten me all tied up, like all those feelings, like, oh, I feel like I didn't do my homework.
I was thinking the same thing.
But it's coaching, regardless of why you use it, regardless of why you use coaching, can be a really transformative experience, because you are now holding someone's hand who is agreeing to get in your trenches. So all the dirt, all the mud, all the muck, the mire, that's yours. And this person is choosing to go there with you to help you figure out how to get the heck out and not go back. And that is a relationship and a bond that once you have it, you just don't lose it. It feels good. Yeah. And you know how to be that for other people. And I think that's what I love most about being a coach.
Yeah. Well, what are some things that you could do when you do find that you're kind of at an impasse? You're kind of at a stalemate. You don't know, okay, they're not doing this or I'm not, what do you do in those kind of situations?
So you mean like if I have a client that I just can't get through to?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not going to lie to you. I've had quite a few. I've had quite a few, because a lot of people take my initial demeanor, which I make a lot of jokes. I can be a little goofy. I'm also a very regular person. So if you're having a rough week and you're like, I can't sit in this office setting. Okay, cool. Let's go have lunch. I'm probably going to order wine, but I'm not in coaching. You are. So that's fine. I can do all those things. It doesn't bother me. I'm very flexible. But if someone puts up their walls, because we all have them, I do my best to try 3 different means of communicating with them or getting them to see the wall that I see. If I cannot get through that wall, I then start to ask therapeutic questions, more on the, what did this experience teach you? How does that make you feel? And that emotion, what age does it take you to? Because if you're having a freak out about something, anything, and that trauma goes backwards, well, that's a job that I cannot do. And I need to acknowledge that as your coach and as a professional and say, you know what? I love you and I want to work with you, but you're not ready. And I think you should go and possibly seek this type of help.
So you have referred people back to like, okay, you might need some therapy to deal with this trauma before we can continue?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's always going to be the safest, the healthiest road to take, because I tease about breaking down walls, but I never want to break my client. I want to bend you. I don't want you to break. So I have to be very, very mindful of, everything from the tone of voice I choose, the language that I choose, and with certain clients, even the way that I physically present myself. So I've had older clients that, they just really don't appreciate showing up in jeans and sneakers. I live in jeans and sneakers. So for those appointments, I may wear a blazer and a nice shoe, just so that I can accommodate their growth process. It has nothing to do with me. It's not a reflection of me. It's their growth process. And I want to be a part of that in a healthy way.
So everything's really deliberate. Even the little things.
Especially the little things. Those are the things that as adults we forget to do. I'm guilty of it myself. I'm absolutely guilty of it. I will start a plan for myself and I say, okay, this is what we're doing. 2 weeks in, I forgot what we were doing. Completely forgot. And it takes a team. It takes my friends and my kids. And they're like, hey, are you still drinking water? Sure, I'll get right to it. And it's those little things, And yes, I am drinking water. Hey, I did it. I didn't remember today. But yeah, so we all have our own little things, and it's learning what that is and then making it available.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, no, it's just reminding me because I had a hoarding disorder a few years ago, and I used to hoard a lot of stuff. And I think if anybody had spoken to me about that, I was deeply in denial about that. And I think that, when you're in that place, people used to talk to me about it, and they used to say, your house is full of stuff, and I'd be like, I've not got I've got a storage problem. I need this stuff. It's my artworks or things like that. And I had all these justifications. So I imagine you must come up against that sort of thing with people. Sometimes it must be like a glaring thing that needs dealing with.
God, yeah. I think with the walls that we all have, it's finding the wall that I've had and my own personal experience and using that emotion, not necessarily the experience, but the emotion to connect and then to get it adjusted. And that's something, if you are even interested in coaching or looking to possibly go that way, you'll hear people with this argument, can you coach if you've never done it? Can you coach? Can you teach basketball if you never played? And it's a real sticking point for coaches and for clients. And from my own experience, what I'll say is, no, I can't swim. But if you tell me that you want to work on your swimming, well then, baby, I'm going to put on a floaty and a bathing suit and I will be right there with you. Now, I can't swim, but that doesn't change what your goals are or that I may have the skill set to motivate you to do what you want to do. So that's my take on it.
Yeah. So from the spiritual side of things, just out of interest, because this is all pretty new to me, and so what might somebody come to you wanting on a spiritual level?
Oh, spiritual coaching is so much fun. So I have a number of spiritual coaching clients. I think I have more of them than life coaching because everybody thinks their life is great. So on the spiritual aspect, a lot of times people want to learn a new skill. They just want to learn a new skill. They saw something, they read something in a book, and they think, I want to try that. How do I get to that place? Another thing is people want to feel whole, complete, connected. These are things that in our normal society we separate from. And if you don't know how to get there or what's going to push you to that point, then yeah, you might need a spiritual coach. So yoga doesn't do it for everyone. Okay, that's a real thing. Journaling doesn't do it for everyone. So I have some clients that I'm like, hey, babes, go play in the dirt, go make a garden, because that's the way that person connects. So it's things like that. Even our seasoned spiritual community relies on coaches. I think when I first started working as a psychic medium publicly, I had a coach, and she was rough. She was rough, but it's what I needed because I was a stubborn child and I had no intentions of following the rules. So I had this coach who basically told me to put on my big girl pants and get going. And that's all it came down to. She didn't have to teach me anything. She just had to remind me that my excuses were no longer valid.
So what would be some things that, like mediumship, or is there other things you're just trying to work with their intuition for the first time where they haven't really delved into that before?
Oh, yeah. Meditation is a huge one that people come for because they don't know how to shut their brains off. So how do we get to that point where I can make it all just shut up? I just want it all to stop. And that's more of a spiritual coaching situation because the noise that you hear, you're creating. So now I have to teach you how not to create the nonsense that is now driving you crazy. That's absolutely spiritual. I do have people who come and they think, I've had dreams since I was a kid, or, I keep having this weird stuff happening in my house. What do I do next? I read this book. What do I do next? And it's just that they need someone to hold their hand so they don't freak themselves out in the process, right? If you and your friends are grabbing a Ouija board and something happens, you might not ever want to do that again. But then that may be a wall. And that looks like a wall for Miss Brenna. That looks like a
Oh, no. The Ouija board. You just say Ouija board and I'm like, no, don't make it stop. No.
No, I'm not. I've never used them. I'm not really a proponent of them at all. I know people who do, but they are much, much more advanced and fluid in that communication. And that is not a communication that I choose to have. Even as a medium myself, where yes, I can connect on that level and I can get to that side, you got to be real specific on who I want to walk through my door. And a Ouija board doesn't allow for that.
Yeah. No Ouija boards.
I don't think that I'd be the sort of person that'd be well suited to a Ouija board, to be honest. I have a very vivid imagination as it is.
Most people are not suited for a Ouija board, so that's a good thing.
That is correct.
Okay, we just got sidetracked, and now I'm like, where did we go?
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm the one who held on to that and wrote it.
What I will say, though, as far as coaching is concerned, there are so many different avenues to find a coach. Okay. There's a magazine out now called Life Coaching Today. They have a whole Facebook website situation, and you can find thousands of coaches there. We don't all have the same training. We don't all have the same experiences. We don't all have the same intonation or beliefs. So it is very, very, very crucial that anyone who is considering coaching really do their homework. You know, I always say interview your coach, because your coach is interviewing you. So definitely something to consider when you're looking at getting a coach or the type of coach that you may want. And then there's one-on-one coaching versus group coaching.
Group coaching.
Group coaching. So let's say you and your friends all think you have the same issue. We're not overweight. We just really like food. Great. Let's put you in a group coaching situation. Now, everybody's doing the same thing at the same time. Everyone's reading the same literature at the same time. Everyone's having the same exercises and experiences at the same time. That doesn't always work, because we are individuals. So if group coaching is a thing, if you prefer to have some help, assistance, or friends to discuss your coaching with, someone to really bounce ideas off of, then group coaching may be for you. If you have some personal work that you want to do, or the normal way that we do things normally doesn't suit you, then one-on-one coaching may be your better bet.
So I'm imagining as well, this is something that you're doing online at the moment, is it? Or
yeah, a lot of us are online. Me personally, I'm old school.
Right.
I'm young, but I'm so old. Oh, I'm so old. I appreciate the in-person connection, the face-to-face. So even with my coaching clients who are out of the state or even out of the country, because I have a couple of those guys. Yeah, they're fun. But even those clients, I make sure that we have a Zoom or we have a Skype meeting, because I want to see you. I need to see what's happening to your face when I say certain things.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's sarcasm and I need a reaction.
Do we want to do an example? Do we want to go into some scenarios, or?
Sure, we could do that.
Okay.
We could do this is a fun one. So this is a coaching exercise that I do with I'm gonna say my baby spiritual clients. So they are brand new to the spiritual world. And they just like stags. There we go. And they just really want to kind of start dipping their toe in. Okay. So the first thing that I would have them do is, of course, we do our breathing exercises at the beginning of any coaching experience. I would have them take in 5 deep breaths. You breathe in for 4, you hold for 4, you breathe out for 4. Again, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. Good. If you were to do that breathing exercise 5 times, you would have consciously meditated for 1 minute.
I like that.
And the fun part about it is that you're not thinking of it as meditating. Right now, you're just breathing and counting. Okay. But because you're breathing and counting, you stopped thinking about everything else, because you didn't want to mess up your breathing and counting. So now we've taught you how to shut off your mind, at least for a minute. That's pretty cool, huh? Another exercise that I like to do with them, it's the feel, felt, found. This is something that we use for our empaths. An empath is someone who takes on other people's emotions. It's unintentional. Usually we don't know how to get rid of it. It can really just fudge up our day if we aren't centered or in a good place, okay? So feel, felt, found. And what I'd like to do is pick apart someone's day. So I would start and I'd say, hey, Stags, what time did you get up this morning?
It's complicated. I think I woke up several times, and then I worked from bed. So do you need to know when I got out of bed, or do you need to know when I got up and started working on stuff?
That's up to you. It's all in your perception. When did you get up this morning?
I'll say 8:30.
Okay. And how'd you feel about it? How'd you feel when you got up?
Not great, really.
Not great? No? Why?
Well, I hadn't slept amazingly well. I'd been awake quite a few times throughout the night, and I kind of was a bit disappointed about how little sleep I'd got, and I had quite a lot of things to do, so I felt like I was going to be behind with what I had to do.
And you just answered the next question yourself. You said, I felt like.
Okay.
Feel, felt. Now, you've made it through most of your day at this point. Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Midnight here in the UK, so I'm pretty much, yeah.
Well, we're done. We did it. With that really busy day that you feel like you didn't get enough sleep, which you felt disappointed, what did you find throughout the course of your day? How were you able to operate?
Well, I probably got half of the things that I would have liked to have get done, but they were the things that I needed to get done. So I managed, and I wasn't as tired as I thought throughout the day, actually, to be honest, as well.
Okay. So when you woke up, you were feeling tired, which led your day to feel disappointed. But what you found is that you were really wrong. Your day was fine, and you got most of the important things done.
Okay, yeah.
That changes the way you view your day.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
I want you to be honest about your emotions, because once you can be honest about yours, then you understand when it's someone else's that you're picking up. If I walk into a room and I know everyone, but I feel anxious, well, that's not normal. I shouldn't feel anxious because I know these people. Now I'm going to start asking questions. Why do I feel this way? How am I going to feel later? Or how did I feel before I walked in? This is how I feel now, anxious. But when I walked in, I felt great, which leads me to find that this is not my anxiety. So who around me has a problem? Now I get to ask questions because it's not me. So that's the way that we check into our emotions as an empath. How do I feel right now? How did I feel before? And what is really going on?
And when you deduce that it's from elsewhere that you're getting a certain feeling or something, what would be the next step then in that case?
You would go back to breathing. In for 4, hold for 4, and out for 4, because that gives you a chance to get rid of everyone else's garbage. So once you get in the habit of doing this, which is what coaching does for you, it forces you to think this way. This is the way I need you to think from now on. Once that thought process becomes a habit, you do it on your own. You don't even have to think about it. You go, oh, I can't wait to get home and have dinner with the family. You walk in and you're like, oh my God, what is happening here? Wait, I was excited to come home. Okay, so this isn't me. Let's take a deep breath. I'm excited to be home. And that's the place I want to live in. Get rid of it. If it's not yours, get rid of it.
And that's like a reset. That's sort of... Okay.
Breathing will always be a reset. Breathing will always be a reset. When you're scared, you go, when you scream, right? Either way, breathing is at the core of everything that we are. So if something isn't right, just breathe. You can get through anything if you remember to breathe.
Yeah, that's nice.
You're grounding yourself, your energy.
We talked on another one of the sessions about things feeling intuitively right, and every now and again somebody says something and you go, yeah, I'd not thought of that, but that intuitively feels right. And what you're saying about the breathing, it's like, yeah, I guess it kind of does focus things and center things in a sort of way. It is the kind of, yeah, no, that's good. Yeah,
it's even it works with people don't think of meditation as being an active thing. Okay. It is. It's very active. Meditation is a very active thing. So people, when they go to the gym and they're working out, do you notice they focus on form and breathing?
Yeah.
How is my body positioned? And am I breathing enough to make this happen? That's exercise. You don't think of that as being meditation, but it is. When you sit in one spot and you try and tune out the kids, guess what? You're breathing, which is still an active form of meditation. It's getting all of those inside parts connected just to that single breath for that moment, and then getting rid of anything that doesn't belong.
So another thing we touched on a little bit was the mediumship. You said you do deal with some like spiritual coaching clients with mediumship. What does that look like?
What does that look like? In order to be a good medium, you have to be intentionally connected to yourself, to your spiritual self, to your physical self, to yourself. Okay. So, what I'm teaching or what I'm coaching you to do is to form that connection. What I cannot teach is how to connect. That's a very personal choice. Okay, it's a very personal choice on how we connect. But what I can do is give you the skills and the groundwork to make that happen. So I may work with a spiritual coaching client who's telling me, I've been a psychic, I do card readings, but I really want to connect on this level. Okay, let's break down your life. What are you eating? How much do you sleep? Are you making time to meditate? Who do you have conversations with? What are you watching? Because now I need to know, what are you feeding your soul? What are you listening to? What are you seeing? What are you eating? How are you responding to people? And do you take care of yourself? Are you making time for yourself? Because I can guarantee you that if you're Krabby Patties in this life, the spirits on the other side don't want to talk to you. It's a lot of work to raise your internal frequency and vibration to get to a level where they just might be able to hang out. After I teach you how to balance your own physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being, now I have to give you the language to speak to them. The language, because they don't all talk the way we talk. They don't speak in the same manner that we do. I make choices for my mediumship. I prefer to see things as a movie. That's it. I see clips of things, and then I give you the clips that I see. Now, the clips mean nothing to me. It's a movie I've never seen and I don't care to watch again, but it might be part of your story. So when I give the clips that I see, that's when people are like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what that is. And I'm like, great, because that's for you. It's not for me. But there are other people who prefer to feel emotions. I don't want to feel your emotions. They're not always good. It's just a personal preference. You can show me that you're sad. I don't want to feel sad because you're sad. That's not what I'm going for. And that does happen. That does happen. So teaching the language of how to communicate, and then also teaching rules and respect, because that's huge. That's huge, especially in today's society. It's like we have no respect for the spiritual world, and that is a bad decision.
Yeah.
That's a bad decision.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that I learned while working with the intuition and developing all of that is when you do get the information, however it comes to you, you not trying to make sense of it, just because it's not for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's.
You see,
Stags, it's not as freaky as it sounds, I promise.
Like, as you know, I'm on board with this because I know nothing about anything. So I'm like, well, this is all new to me. So I'm like, okay. My first thoughts are, well, I had a lot of thoughts. I was like, so do you know who a message is for, or how does that work? Does somebody come to you and then ask for you to connect for a message or something like that? I know.
There's two, for me personally, I can say it that way. For me personally, I've established rules. I've established rules because I don't always want to do readings, but I am always a psychic medium. That never goes away. I can't turn it off because I'm home. So I establish rules. They understand I will talk to you when it is your time to talk to me. That is it. Don't step outside of that because I will ignore you unless it's an emergency. I do not offer medium readings or psychic readings unless I am asked.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So if we are at a grocery store and I walk by a mom and I think, ooh, her tire is going to be flat later, I'm not going to turn around and go, hey, listen, you should check your tires.
Yeah.
That's inappropriate. That's inappropriate. What I may do is strategically position myself behind her or in front of her in line and then pay for some of the things on her list. Because I know she's going to need that extra money.
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah.
So instead of me intruding on your life experience, right, I'm going to just assist in a way that is non-intrusive. Something that you wouldn't even think about.
I like that.
Now, for emergency situations, they do happen. Where I'm never going to see this person again. And whatever they have going on in their life is so that their people on the other side are like, hey, listen, we know this isn't how you work, but if you don't mind, that does happen. And at those times, I do my best to pull the person to the side where they have privacy and then give them the option of hearing the message. Because this is your life experience. Even if I know it is good for you and it will be helpful to you, if you choose not to want to hear it, okay, I'm going to go about my business because I've now done my job. I extended that opportunity for you to have help that you did not expect.
Yeah, everybody's got free will, so.
And I am very, very respectful of that because I want people to be respectful of mine.
That's a nice philosophy.
And I'm at a loss. You got anything, Stags?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was picking up on the intentional connection bit. That was really interesting to me. Is that something you could expand on, or is it just
intentional connection when I'm referring to how we speak to the other side?
Yeah, I think that was what you were saying, wasn't it? It was in relation to when you said you were maybe coaching somebody that was a medium or something, and they had to connect with their own. Did you say intentional connection to their own self?
Yeah, their own pieces. So what I'm referring to is, and there's so many. I love The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Okay, I love it, love it, love it. It is the first book I start all coaching clients on. I don't care if you're seasoned, if you're a baby, if you're here for life coaching, or if you're here for spiritual coaching. You will read this book with me. And the reason that I have everyone start there is because it is an intentional connection. It is making a choice to not be part of the rat race. And if you are going to coach with me, then that is necessary. I need to know that you are willing and prepared to do your job. I'm going to do mine. I'm going to show up. I'm going to give you the skills that you need. I'm going to give you the tools for your belt that you need. But if you are not going to use them, this is a waste of both of our time and energy. And that book, The Four Agreements, it's specific. It gives you an entire intro chapter on how we became a race of domesticated humans.
Okay.
Oh, that'll really challenge your way of seeing the world, seeing yourself. It really was. It does. It's a bit of a trip. It's a trip.
It's an in-your-face depiction of the rat race, of the American dream, of what we are supposed to want. And if you found yourself in coaching, it's possibly, quite possibly, and I'm going to say almost 99% the case, that you don't want what everyone else wants. And that's how you came to coaching in the first place. So I need to know that you are comfortable living in this space, an intentional connection. That's what I mean. Yeah. I'm going to make you dig
that
deep.
Book's come up a couple of times before.
Yo, it's such a good one. And it's really a series of them. Another good book that really challenges the way we process information and the way we reach our goals and our life purpose is the book called Focus. And I can't remember the name of the author, but I think I can get it to you. But yeah, it's the name of the book is Focus. It's orange and white. It's a quick read, although it's heavy. It's a quick read, but it's heavy. Okay. And it's one of those books that really talks about what is living this life all about. Really, what do you want out of it? And if that's what you want, are you wasting your time? Focus is the name of the book. I love that book. It's just, it really bends the way you handle the life that you have, the time that you had, the experiences that you get. It just gives you a whole new appreciation and a willingness to work harder.
You know, I've got a funny feeling that I picked that book up many years ago at a charity shop and never read it, and it's probably on one of my shelves somewhere. But I had no idea what it was. So yeah, so maybe I need to have a little bit of a hunt after this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's got a longer title though. It's like Focus, how to something.
Yeah,
something.
It has a whole thing. But it's written by a gentleman who is a monk, and I know the name of this book, but it's one of those transformative ideas that just really forces you to adjust your train of thought.
Yeah. I mean, with the Four Agreements, I remember I didn't even get into the chapters yet. It's just the introduction, even though it's odd because even though I understood the concept as a spiritual person working within the spiritual community. I understood the concept of it, and I've come across that concept. It's like really processing it and integrating it into myself, into my own brain. Just was like, it's like I can't do it. It took me a few times for it to really sink in. It's
and I think. Oh, I found the title. It's Bringing Time, Energy, and Money into Flow. And the name of the book is Focus. Pedram Shojai is the author. Shojai. That's the author. But with the Four Agreements, the intro chapter, that's where he really, he just slaps you in the face with it. And what he's slapping you in the face with is the idea that you did not choose the life you're living. It was never a choice. You were programmed from the day you were born, from the first breath you took. You were being programmed, and your parents were programmed. And as a result, when you have children, you will program them as well. Domestication of the human race. It is a very abrasive way to start a book.
Oh, yeah.
However, if you do not, on some level, accept the fact that there's pieces of your current life that you never asked for, it's the acceptance that, yeah, you know what? I am working this 9 to 5 and I don't want to. And I never wanted to, but they told me I had to. And it's like, well, who told you? No one. It's what you were trained to believe. And it's not just, people are like, oh, it's family. It's not. It's your parents from the time you're a child. And then you go to school. And when you get into school, what do we tell you? Learn your ABCs, learn how to count, learn money. So one day you can go to college, get a good job, and have a family. We program you that way. And that's the way society has matured. At no point in that cycle did we say, improve the lives of others. Make peace with your childhood traumas. Find something you enjoy. At no time. So that intro chapter is really about waking you up from a dream. This life, if you choose to live it that way, disconnected, is nothing more than a dream. So that's what took us back to that intentional connection. You have to choose to wake up. The meat and potatoes of the book is these 4 new rules you give yourself, right? You promise yourself you're going to change 4 aspects. And in the process of doing so, you move away from the status quo. Be impeccable with your speech. Say what you mean what you say. That's it. Okay? Don't make any assumptions. Never assume. You have no idea what someone else is going to do. Ask the questions. Right?
Yeah.
Always do your best. No matter what. Make sure that whatever effort you give is 100%. I didn't say 110. I didn't say 85. 100. I'm not telling you to go over and above. I'm telling you to do the best that you can in that moment. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's these types of, and the 4th one is don't take anything personally. And I've made that statement a couple times tonight where I don't take it personal. It's not mine. I don't care. It's very easy for me to give these things away because your choices are not as a result of me. They're as a result of you. And if I don't like your choices, I don't have to be a part of them.
Everybody's got their own path in life.
So having those 4 rules change you won't work unless you accept that the life you live, there's pieces of it that you don't actually want.
Yeah. No, this is great advice. There's a number of things here I'm thinking, I'm now looking forward to tomorrow. I'm going, okay. Tomorrow's going to be different. I'm going to be implementing some of this stuff.
And it's so funny because it's not, it's definitely a one day at a time. Sometimes it's a one moment at a time because we are human. We're all running around in this wonderful little meat suit trying to make it work. And sometimes we have bad days. And usually what we see as a bad day was only an annoying moment.
Yeah.
That's why I asked how you felt when you got up this morning, Stags, because it was just an annoying moment. It wasn't exactly a bad day.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, I'm sure we all have those where it's like just that one thing. And see, that's the thing is sometimes we latch on to that one bad thing and we let it destroy our whole day. We let that thing, we harp on it. We talk to people about it and like, oh, this thing happened and oh, look at that. And we just keep that with us the entire day.
And that's where that breathing comes back in. right? So when we're holding on to these pieces, we are making a conscious choice to allow this one moment to be another moment and another moment and another moment and another moment. You're making that choice. You're doing that. You're creating that experience. That's something you created for yourself. So when I sit with people and they're telling me, oh, well, it was a rough week. I'm like, oh, okay, what made it rough? What happened? And it's normally maybe one or two inconveniences per day that we held on to. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I love to do is see people change the way they view their experience. I personally, today was a difficult day for me, but you wouldn't know that because I chose to allow my difficult moments to stay a moment. It was just a moment. I didn't sleep well last night. Okay, I'll go to bed earlier tonight. I didn't feel well this morning. Okay, I took 2 hours leave. I went in late. My kids don't listen, but they're not failing. So that's okay too. The chores will get done and I'm still here on time. So these are moments. These are just moments. And your life, the life that you live, the spirituality that you have, the connections, the friendships, the love, all of those pieces are just series of moments. It's just like the stained glass that makes up the person. Keep the good ones, get rid of the chipped ones.
Stags, do you have any other questions?
No, I think that solved everything. I feel very motivated, and I feel like I've got a whole new perspective on things. I'm ready to go. I'm loving the whole moment thing. It's a really lovely way of looking at stuff that I haven't really looked at it before, and it makes perfect sense. I'm looking forward to implementing that in my everyday life. How about you?
Yeah. So you actually said something that I'm curious about. Aileen, how do you feel about the idea of motivation? Because I know some people are like, it's an
inside job.
Yeah.
Motivation is an inside job. I am not a motivated person. I'm not. I am a luxurious person. I like to enjoy myself. I like to take my time and good food and good wine and great conversation. None of that says get up and go to work. None of it. However, no one else can get me to go to work. They can't. There's nothing you can say that's going to make me want to get up at 7:00 in the morning and work for somebody else. Okay. However, the way that I view my world and the picture I want to have at the end of my day is what gets me out of bed. Now, I do believe that there are motivators. There's people out there that'll say, hey, remember this picture? Go you, you can do it. Cheerleaders, so to speak. That's what we see as motivation. Maybe someone else already did what you want to do. And so you keep an image of them. Or maybe there's a certain paycheck that you want. So you write out that paycheck and you put it to the side. That was actually an author who did that. He wrote out a $1 million paycheck and he put it on his vision board. And 5 years later, he had $1 million paycheck. And it was just because he saw that mirror of what he wanted. That's what motivation is. It's the reminder of where you're trying to go.
Oh, I think I know who this is. I think this was from The Secret. I think it was the guy who did the Chicken Soup for the Soul books.
Yep. That's exactly who it is. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
But so yeah, is that the same sort of thing? At the beginning you said about a life map. Would that be the sort of thing that involves vision boards and that sort of thing?
For the life map? Like, would a vision board be what I use for a life map?
Yeah, are they tied in? Are they the same sort of thing? Are they related, or am I way off now?
They're related, but they're not the same thing. A vision board is the big brother, the aggressive big brother to a life map. A life map, it's really a picture of your habits and behaviors with a glimpse of your goals. It's just the idea of your goals. I want to know, what were you doing that brought you to me? What are you doing right now that we need to change? And where are you trying to go? Okay. So if you tell me, I'm from the UK, but I made it to Florida and I really want to see the Statue of Liberty. Oh, I got to get you to New York. That's where I got to get you to. Now, I know ultimately where you're trying to go. And that allows me to make a conducive roadmap to your behaviors. A vision board, however, says, this is where we're going. This is how we get here. Don't forget. Okay? There's no questions in that. The vision board says, this is the map. It's done. There's no wiggle room. Follow that. This is the yellow brick road. And that's what you do with a vision board. It's your reminder. It's your motivator.
Okay, great, cool. Yep, that's very methodical with stuff. It's brilliant. It's very much laid out. I'm like, yeah, at the end of it, I go, I've got no questions after each section.
Yeah. Communication is really one of my skills.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess to wrap up, what would you say, are there any kind of like misconceptions about life coaching? Anything that people think, that expect when they come in, that it's just like, no, don't do that?
A lot of people believe that a life coach is above, they're somehow better than the normal human. And so the client then leaves no room for human error. This is one of the most tragic mistakes that you can make. And I say that as a coach and also as a client. I am human. There will be bad days. There will be days where I don't want to hear you whine. I don't want to hear you whine. So coaching may be a little more tough on those days because I am still human. However, there's going to be days where you lie to me. And I know, and it's fine because you're still human. I'm going to find a way to push you to getting through that period. So just allowing people space to be human, to have that error, and to honor their experience. And I think the only other misconception that really, if anything about coaching grated on my nerves, it would be the idea that their coaches are overpaid for nothing. You don't need a coach. Nobody needs a coach. I could do that myself. Why am I going to pay someone to tell me what I already know? And the truth is, because even though you know it, you're not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people running around go, oh, these coaches are fake. They're this, they're not really helping you. They're charging you all this money. And that's more than my training. It is more than my time. You are getting my experience and you are getting a piece of my soul in that moment. So coaching is very, very near and dear to my heart. I just really hope that anyone who does get a chance to enjoy this particular podcast, they have a much better outlook on what is available and maybe some starting points on reading material. And also, just that reminder to breathe. I think that would help so many people, even if they weren't ready for coaching. Breathe, and it's only a moment.
Yeah. Oh, well, you gave us a lot to think about, and you gave him a lot to think about as well. So I guess we will let you go. Aileen, thank you so much for joining us. Are there any other resources, books that you would like to
shout out? Oh yeah, there's a good one by Abraham Hicks, Ask and It's Given. I really like that book because we talked about the idea of repeating the negative and then seeing more negative. So that's what we call in the spiritual community manifestation. You call it and it shows up. So if you say negative stuff, that's what you're going to get. If you say positive stuff, that's all that you will see. So the book Ask and It's Given by Abraham and Esther Hicks, it gives you exercises. It gives you a kind of like an emotions chart to see where you are at this point on each subject. So those are really, really great tools to just put in your feather cap and use for later.
All right. Well, thank you again. Thank you so much for joining us. And maybe we'll talk to you again soon.
You got it.
Thank you.
So what do you think? Do you feel better? Do you feel more enlightened now?
I don't. Well, I mean, I don't know about enlightened quite, but I feel more enlightened. I'm very hesitant to say that because I started from a very dark place, but we're building up now, aren't we? And, I don't mean a dark place in any sort of particularly. I feel like that sounded overly negative when I said I started. I meant just an unilluminated place.
Okay, because I was gonna say, well, you are in England, so I mean, you did kind of start a dark place.
Oh, yes, exactly. Yeah. And it is midnight. Past midnight. So yeah, technically I am in a very dark place as well.
Technically you're in a dark place. You're just working your way back up.
But yeah, no, it was it was nice to have a different perspective on a lot of things. There was a lot of things that just everyday things that it's easy to just get very used to looking at from a certain perspective. And when you look at it from another angle, you go, yeah, I guess these are things that you can view. And so the thing about moments and things like that was a great thing, a great way of looking at stuff. I think just the idea that you can let that go, and that can have been a bad moment, not necessarily a bad day. I think that's something that I'll be taking moving forward. And I also I'm enjoying the idea of this breathing thing. A little minute meditation every now and again whenever I feel like I need a reset, which I think is going to be several times a day.
Well, hey, as long as many times as you need it, because the whole thing about meditation is that it's a practice. It's practice. And even the people who've been practicing it for several years or most of their life, it's still a practice. There's still going to be days when they're going to be and it's going to be hard to get through, or they're going to have hard times connecting, or there's just going to be too much noise. Everybody's going to have problems, even the more advanced people. So
I think I'm going to meditate every time I have a cup of tea. I think that feels like the way of doing it. So yeah.
Yeah, because then also journaling, because what you're talking about moments, having those moments where they're bad moments, but the whole day might not have been bad. Journaling and actually breaking that down, you can actually see that more, and by processing that and like looking at every little piece, like, oh, okay, so it wasn't really bad. It was just those little moments. And then you might be able to take that into your days and like, okay, that was just something that happened, but that doesn't have to ruin my day.
Yeah. Whole ways to refresh the day. I mean, to be fair as well, if I do meditate every time I have a cup of tea, that's going to be numerous times a day, because obviously being in England, I think I'm probably about 21st cup of the day, I think. So.
Well, then you'll have a very good meditation practice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it sounds like the perfect approach.
Yeah. So we've reached the end of our show, and if you chose to stick with us, then thank you. And if you didn't, you know what? Well, that's your choice. I hope you have a good day.